Hey everyone, and welcome to the Retro channel and to part 2 of the Amiga 500 repairs. So back in part 1 we took a look at this Amiga 500 and sorted out a couple of issues with it, so I'll throw a link to that up there and down in the video description if I remember. And today we're going to look at the very yellowed Amiga 500, which does have a somewhat rare keyboard. Hopefully we can also sort out the issues with this one and end up with 2 working A500s. Only one way to find out. Alright, let's check out the yellow one. It is very yellow. Interesting, it's got the Commodore key. I think that indicates that it's an early revision, although the badge up here is a badge. I'm pretty sure the very early Amigas had actually the Commodore logo embossed on them. So perhaps this keyboard is from an older machine. The case is a little bit newer. And the lack of yellowing on the actual keyboard would suggest something like that. Anyway, let's power this up, see what it does. All right, power on. And we have a normal Amiga Workbench screen. Okay. Yeah, I thought it had issues with video output. At least that's what I was told, but it all looks to be good. Even the disk drive appears to be working. Ew. But the keyboard, not so much. Let's use the mouse again. See if we can get into the keyboard test. All right, mouse is working. No response from the keyboard at all. Bloody keyboards. All right. Just power it on again, see if it misbehaves. No, it all seems fine. Anyway, let's open this up, take a look at the keyboard at least. This one does actually have the screws holding it together. Alright, well, the keyboard's plugged in and it's connected the right way around, so you want to have the black wire on the left hand side, purple wire on the right, so that looks correct. There's a bit of rust underneath the keys. And we've got screws in here as well. And more broken tabs I see. In fact, there's one of the broken tabs floating around inside the case, so good thing that wasn't shorting anything out. Alrighty. Let's make sure no other tabs fall out of this thing. Okay. So we have a Rev 5 board, so yeah, definitely not an early machine. And now the keyboard's working. Are you kidding me? Oh. F6 is a bit marginal. Oh, and 5 and 6, yeah. This looks like just dirty keys though. Don't know why it didn't work the first time though. Yeah, I think we've got some dirty keys. They do work eventually if you hit them long enough. So, keyboard definitely needs cleanup. That's not a surprise. It looks filthy. Disk drive appears to be working, and the video output seems to be working. I might just give it a bit of a tap around. Ooh. What happened there? Ooh, okay. I think we've just got bad connection on the Agnes socket. Ah, so yes, it is temperamental, but I think it's just going to be that socket, which from what I hear is a fairly common fault. Let's pop its little retaining clip off. And I should have some PLCC pullers somewhere. It's definitely a good idea to use one of these when you're taking out one of these PLCC packages, because otherwise you can end up actually breaking part of the case. Come on, you bastard. Pull up. There it is. So the legs on it appear to be perfectly fine. And the socket itself looks to be in good condition. Either way, we'll give it a quick clean up and see if it behaves itself. Might just go over it with a bit of IPA first. And same for the Agnes chip. And then just a little bit of contact cleaner and lubricant. Messy stuff. And you can see there is a tiny little dot that indicates where pin 1 is, and on the board we've got a big 1 there, so the chip should line up with that dot that way. Then we just press it in nice and evenly. Alright, let's see if that made it happy. Otherwise we might have a bad solder joint on the bottom side. We're getting nothing. Not seeing any issues in there. And yeah, the alignment was definitely the right way around, so that way. Let's try again. Oh, now the disk drive's loading. So yeah, I'd say that was still just a bad contact there that might have fixed itself. Oh no, still a bad contact. Let's check the solder joints underneath, make sure it's not an issue with them. Well, just with the naked eye, I'm not seeing any issues with those joints, but I think it's worth just reflowing all of them just to be sure. If it's not that, then we might just have to replace the whole socket. Might just pull the Agnes out just so we're not heating it up unnecessarily. Yeah, all those contacts look good. I'm not seeing any that are bent out of shape or corroded or anything. They all look nice and shiny. I don't see any issues on the IC. Wonder if it's worth just shining them up a little bit with the fiberglass pencil. Let's just quickly see if that made any difference. You know what? Going over those chip legs with the fiberglass pencil may have done the trick. They certainly looked okay, but after doing that, this thing seems to be rock solid. So yeah, intermittent issues like that, it's always a good idea to give them a little tappy. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo. Seems happy. Yeah, not seeing any issues. Cool. I think that's done it. Better put this retaining clip back on, although it doesn't really seem to serve much purpose. So we know that the keyboard is a little bit iffy. I'm just going to test the rest of the functions, make sure everything else is working, and then I guess we'll be pulling off all these keycaps and cleaning out the keyboard. Yay. Yeah, she's good. Memory. Do it. Memory appears to be good. Keyboard, well, we know it's got issues. Floppy drive. Read test. Read test is good. Let's do the write test. Yep, no problems there. Controller ports, I think we saw the mouse mostly working before, so I don't expect an issue with this. And I'm not going to worry about the joystick. If one of them works, it's a good chance that the other one should work just fine. Audio. That's good. That's good. That's good. Yep. Video, it's all going to be black and white. Yep, that's good. CIA precision timers. CIA timer test looks good. All right, that all seems perfectly fine. And just for fun, I'll quickly load into Workbench. Cool, yep, Workbench loaded up fine. So this machine appears to be fully functional apart from a few dirty keys. Let's get this keyboard cleaned up. So this is a little bit different from the other ones. I can see that there's no ribbon connector and the whole keyboard is just one PCB. It looks like all those keycaps are soldered to the board. So different type of switches, I guess. I don't really want to desolder every single key. I think we'll just remove all these keycaps because they're all going to need a clean anyway because they are filthy. And then we'll work out which keys are not working and see if we can get them going again. Hopefully they just come off easily. Right. Well, that one looks like it took the whole sort of key assembly with it. In fact, they appear to be clipped in to the keycap itself. I suppose that's not such a bad thing because it does expose the contacts here, so it should make them a bit easier to clean up. But yeah, a bit risky with the springs hanging around like that. Let's take off another one. Yep, same deal. Well, it's not so bad. We can still clean these because they're all just plastic, so don't have to worry about, getting water on them. I guess I'll just continue and pull all of these off. Make sure I don't lose any of these springs. All right, well, that's all the keycaps removed. The majority of them came off in one piece, but some of them left the other half behind. Not a big deal. As long as I can actually put these in some soapy water and clean them up, I'm not too worried about that. And yeah, all the stabilized keys left the stabilizer bar and the other piece behind. So that's perfectly fine. So I'll give these a scrub in some warm soapy water, and I'll go through and just clean between every single contact on this keyboard, I guess. Yay. So I might try some of these. They're contact cleaning strips by Electrolube. Let's see if they'll do the job. Ooh, they're all falling out. So they feel like barely smooth paper, but maybe they'll do it. So we just stick them in between the contacts and work them up and down a little bit. Well, I don't see anything coming off on the strip itself. Well, after going through the top row, there is definitely something coming off on this thing, so maybe it will work. I guess we'll find out. Okay, so I've gone through and cleaned up every single contact with these contact cleaning strips. Apparently these have some kind of lubricant embedded in them as well, so hopefully they'll do the job. Otherwise I'll step it up to something a little bit more abrasive, like a fine grit sandpaper, but best to start off with the least abrasive stuff first. So now's the fun job of putting all the keycaps back on, which I have hand scrubbed, so hopefully this thing should come out looking pretty good, and with any luck it'll work, but there's only one way to find out. Putting all the keys back on also turned out to be quite the time-consuming process, and a little bit daunting as they make a very loud click as you push them back in. But it was worth taking my time with these because I believe these keyboards are quite rare and the little metal contacts are quite easy to bend out of shape. So definitely want to take your time if you're pulling apart one of these keyboards. And when it's all reassembled and back together, it does feel pretty nice compared to a membrane-based Amiga 500 keyboard. Definitely has a nice mechanical feel. So let's get this back in the machine and see if it works. Okay, here we go. So far so good, everything seems normal. Let's get the Amiga test kit disc. Okay, keyboard still works. Will every key work? Only one that didn't work was P. Ooh, and it does feel a little bit different. Yeah, I was worried about the P key because the contacts on that one did look to be a little bit bent out of shape when I first took it off. So let's pull that off again, have a closer look. Hopefully we can get them back into shape. Yeah, they're looking pretty bad. But that does still work. It's just that when we're pushing the key down, the contacts don't close properly. It looks like this right-hand side is sort of bent in too much, or the left-hand side is bent out too much. Ugh.
20 minutes later.
Well, the P key is now finally working. That took a little bit more stuffing around than I had hoped, but it works. I took the keycap off an adjacent key and managed to lose the spring. So, cool. Right, crisis averted. I found it. It had just rolled off onto the floor next to me. So we can finally put this whole keyboard back together. Nice. Give it a quick dusting. And I didn't really plan any before and after pictures, but let's see if we can do something with the previous footage versus what it looks like now. And I think you'll agree that it looks a million times better. So I think that is it for this Amiga 500. Obviously the case itself needs a clean up and a retro brighting, as does the other A500, but that's all kind of boring stuff that I'll do off camera. So I think it's time to put this back together and give it a proper setup and a proper workout. Right, well, I'm happy to report that this Amiga 500 is working just fine. Obviously, it still needs a good cleanup. The keyboard looks amazing and feels great, but the case, yeah, not so much. Needless to say, I've been slightly distracted by Lemmings and forgot that I was supposed to be filming the outro, so here it is. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We got 2 Amiga 500s back up and running, so that's always a good thing. And yeah, I've still got some cleaning work to do ahead of me, but I'll do that off camera. Maybe I'll put some exclusive pics up on Patreon or something. But that's about it for this one. So thank you all for watching. A huge thanks to the people that support the channel on Patreon. And if you want to do the same, links to that are in the video description. Blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. I will catch you next time. Bye. Oh, what was I supposed to be doing? Almost seems too easy. Right, where did that spring go? Fuck.